How many people are you expecting today to attend the meeting?
We have around 80 people registered, so...
Okay. So you might have around 50 people attending or so, because usually there's a big dropout from the people registered and the people that come in, no?
Yeah, it's also quite unexpected. Like last time with the European Training Foundation, we had a very small dropout. Like we had 70 people registered and 60 attending, so it's really unpredictable sometimes. But usually, yeah, the dropout is something that we always take into consideration.
Usually there's a big dropout from the people registered and the people that come in, no?
Yeah, it's also...
What is this?
Nothing. I'm starting with the streaming, so...
Okay, so we should let everyone know that we are now live streaming.
All right. Hello, everybody. Yes, we are all connected here. I have already admitted some of the participants. I'm going to share my screen for just a second, and then we will wait until 10 for the beginning of the session. Thank you very much. All right, so well. Hello, everybody. Here we are again. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending from where you're connecting today. It's 10 in the morning, Central European Time, and from the Skillman team and the Assembly of European Regions, welcome to participate in this webinar today on social inclusions and skills development. I'm very glad that you joined us today for this interesting discussion. We have a very rich agenda today and great speakers. So first of all, I would like to thank our speakers for being with us today. Thank you very much. And we will present them in just a while. Now, I would like to also thank the Assembly of European Regions because without their contributions and support, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you very much to all the girls who worked in the organization of the webinar. Waiting for more people to enter the room and to participate with us in the event, I would like to just instruct you on a few things for the time that we'll be spending together. All the participants have their microphones off and their cameras are also off, so I would kindly ask everybody to keep this way, and we will have a Q&A space later for your questions and comments that you can ask and write in the chat box at any time. And then during the space at the very end of today's webinar, we will address them to the speakers and we will answer all your questions. Moving on. My name is Valentina. Some of you might know me already. I'm usually welcoming everybody during our webinars, even the previous ones, and I'm the communication manager of Skillman. And from my side, I would just like to contextualize today's event and also introduce to you the Skillman network very briefly. Today's event actually is not a sole event. It's part of a series of digital events that we have been implementing within the Skillnet project with our partners, and specifically with the Assembly of European Regions. Now, the Skillnet project is a EU-funded project that includes a series of international organizations. So basically, it's a network of networks, and we have been implementing those digital events together. As I mentioned already, with the Assembly of European Regions, with the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion, with IVETA, the International Vocational Education and Training Association, with EAPRIL, in special partnership with the European Training Foundation. Now, the main aim of the Skillnet project is to develop a strategy of a large network of centers of vocational excellence in TVET. I will leave for you a few numbers and the milestones that we have been achieving with Skillman. Actually, Skillman is a worldwide community of different stakeholders, practitioners, researchers, institutions, and others. And those stakeholders engage in TVET, in the technical and vocational education and training domain, with the aim of introducing and exchanging skills at a global level to cope with the new challenges of today's needs in the labor market. Now, these that you see on your screen, I will leave it for you later for you to see them more, like, let's say, with more time. But basically, we have made many achievements in the past years, and as you see, we have more than 600 members who joined our network. The special thing about it is that they come from 300 plus regions and 93 countries of the world. We have 50 plus ambassadors that spread the principles of the network around the world. So for us, this is a very big achievement. Now, again, I will leave these numbers for you later. I would just like to mention that we are working on our biggest annual event, the Skillman International Forum, that is going to happen this year from the 15th to the 18th of November 2021. That is already a web page where you can see the first inputs of our work on this international forum. I know it's a little bit early, but I would like to just forward you the invitation just for already from now for you to participate in the event. So Luca is sharing with you the screen if you're interested in participating. Another very big achievement for the Skillman Network is the creation of these 4 thematic groups. We call them peer learning clubs. Those clubs are groups of experts that regularly meet and engage in the discussion of 4 different topics: on advanced manufacturing, on advocacy and policy and influencing, on work-based learning, and on train the trainers. And those people, let's say, discuss these topics regularly. We have more than 200 people already involved. If you are interested in continuing the discussion of today's webinar's topics, please join one of those peer learning clubs. And I think the link is going to be in your chat box at the moment. One last thing, we are streaming live today on our YouTube channel, Skillman.eu, the YouTube channel, where you can access the video even after the session. So if you want, you can watch us there. And last but not least, you know that we usually value very much your feedback on the quality of our webinars to improve and to give you always interesting topics to discuss. So just take a minute of your time to tell us what you think about today's webinar by clicking on the link that Luca is sharing with you today. We have many things to discuss today, so I wouldn't indulge any further, and I would just pass the floor to Aurora Carrasco-Minguez, our facilitator of today. She will be presenting and introducing the speakers, and she's the VET Programs Manager of Acción contra el Hambre. She's connected from Spain today. Thank you, Aurora, for being with us. The floor is all yours if you want. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Valentina, and welcome also from my side to all the public attending this webinar today on social inclusion in TVET, and skills development, leaving no one behind. It's really my pleasure to be moderating this session today. And of course, welcome also to the panel of speakers for today, which I am first of all going to introduce. So we are honored to have with us today João Santos, expert of the European Commission, who will be opening today's webinar, sharing on social inclusion in TVET sector and the opportunities at the EU level. Following, we will have Alicia Garcia Madrid, who is manager of European Social Labor Inclusion Programs in Action Against Hunger Spain, and where she also coordinates the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion. And she will be speaking us about social innovations in TVET and inclusiveness assessment. So really looking forward to that too. And then we will be having Constantina Leventi from the European Association of Service Providers for Persons with Disabilities, who will be sharing with us the BeWise project, okay, dealing with sectoral cooperation on skills in work integration social enterprises. And finally, we will have Massimo Aloe from Reativa, who will be explaining us a really interesting project named Better Reality and what it does to foster social inclusion for students with special education needs. Okay, so without further delay, I think we're now going to start sharing on how to assure this high quality and inclusive TVET and skills development for all. That is especially important after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has meant, as we all know, increases in inequalities and record levels of deprivation and unemployment, and how to avoid the increase of inequalities in education and its consequent derivation towards unemployment and exclusion in youth. Okay, so now I give the floor to João Santos for the opening session. João, if you're ready.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. I'd like to thank Aurora and the organization of this event today, which comes at a very particular moment where we are still recovering from COVID. I hope we're recovering and no new variants will come and spoil our plans. But because this COVID crisis also emphasized really the need for digitalization in VET and to have a very particular focus on social inclusion. So the theme you've decided today is very important. I have a short presentation to share with you, if I can put it on now. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Let me just make sure that you don't have that problem. You don't have that gray spot on the screen now, do you?
No, it's
okay.
fine. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, fine. So I'd like to maybe start the my short intervention today by bringing a poem to you. So it's an unusual way of starting a event on TVET, but in any case, I think this poem is very pertinent. Although it was written by John Donne already many centuries ago, I think it maintains its pertinence when we're talking about inclusion, social inclusion, because it has as its underlying message the fact that no man is an island, in the sense that we are not isolated, and whatever we do and whatever we feel in life, the way we interact with society matters, and to think that the suffering of someone else or the loss of integration of someone else in society is their problem. In fact, it's our common problem. I think nobody should be happy or comfortable until we don't give opportunities for everyone, whatever the social background, whatever their difficulties in life. If we don't strive to have a society that reaches out to all, I think we failed. And I think TVET has a very important role in this respect of providing opportunities for everyone to participate in education, and through education then participate actively in life. So I'll just start, it's not on that, but in any case to share with you this poem, which I think is very, very important. The title says everything: no man is an island. So we don't isolated, we go nowhere. But what I'd like to share with you in the next few minutes, in fact, is what is the kind of the legal framework that we are building in Europe with the focus on social inclusion. And the first one, I think, which is important, and it sort of gives a frame to everything else we do sorry, let me just go back. I went too fast on this one. Opla, wait, sorry a moment. that, you know, what encapsulates all the work that we'll be doing in the next decade, I think, in Europe, is the principle 1 of the European Pillar of Social Rights. You know that there was a summit on the 8th of May in Porto, Portugal, that endorsed an action plan that the Commission proposed. And of the 20 principles that the European Pillar of Social Rights proposes, the first one is Principle 1, which looks at education, training, and lifelong learning, with a particular focus on quality, which is very much to do with what Skillman is also trying to achieve, and inclusive education, where through skills we allow everyone, and this means everyone in society, to participate fully in society. So not only the people in the labor market, not only the young, not only the adults, people that are outside the labor market as well, we've got to reach out to them, and through education and training and a lifelong learning perspective, allow them, empower them to participate actively in society, be it in the labor market, also participate actively, you know, having the possibility of benefiting from many services that are there online as well, for people like, you know, booking a medical appointment or doing the tax declarations. If you don't have digital skills, and if you're 80 years of age, you're not in the labor market, we still need to look at those people and make sure that they are given the skills that they need to participate in society. Then the European Pillar of Social Rights, as I mentioned before, has 20 big principles. There are 3 of them that are particularly relevant for what we are doing. Of course, Principle 1, which I've just mentioned, but others as well. I'll just emphasize the one on equal opportunities, the principle on active support to employment, which also requires that TVET has adequate responses for everyone. And as I was saying in the Porto Summit, the action plan was endorsed by all the EU institutions, and 3 big targets were decided. The one that is particularly relevant for us, of course, reducing poverty, increasing employment levels, but the one on having at least 60% of adults participating in training is quite an ambitious target, especially if you think that in 2016, which is the latest data we have, was only 37.4%. So we have a big, I would say, strategic framework, which is provided by the European Pillar of Social Rights, that sets to a certain extent the work we have to do. But not only that, if you look at the European education area, there are 6 dimensions defined in the European education area. One particular dimension is precisely on inclusion and gender equality, and under this one, the centers of vocational excellence are one of the focuses of the work that we have to do. If we also go and look at the Council recommendation on VET, which was adopted late last year, one of the key drives of ensuring that VET is future-proof, that it is providing people with the skills they need, is also to have a more inclusive approach to vocational education and training, removing all barriers to accessibility, so that everyone can take advantage of the future-proof VET that we are trying to build in Europe with the member states, the social partners, and so on. Now, moving from the political sphere to the funding sphere, to say also that it's not only about talk, there's also the provision of substantial funding to support this talk. And I would just emphasize that the new Erasmus regulation, and this is something new compared to the past, has 2 particular articles that are focusing on social inclusion and financial support to deliver this social inclusion. I would just mention the Article 15, which is particularly relevant, on which we now at the service level in the Commission are working on, and we will deliver by the deadline. There's an article that for the first time in the Erasmus regulations, in the past it wasn't there, that asks the Commission by the 29th of November, which happens to be 6 months after the publication of the Erasmus regulation, to develop a framework for inclusion measures to increase the participation rates of people with fewer opportunities. So this is a specific request of legislative authorities, so the Parliament and the Council, that asked the Commission to develop a strategy for social inclusion within the Erasmus program. Of course, we also finance social inclusion measures with other instruments that we have at the EU level, you know, the European Social Fund in particular, but also through ERDF. But I would say that Erasmus Plus is probably the one that has a closer link to the education and training sectors, where there's a bigger scope for us to modulate the various activities to what are our intentions. And I think this reference to the article of the regulation is extremely important. But Erasmus Plus, as you know, has transversal priorities, focusing on what are the big EU objectives of the green and digital transition. But once again, if you go and look at the Erasmus program, the way we've developed it, there's this transversal dimension of the wider EU goal on inclusion and diversity. And this is inclusion and diversity not only for the people, so reaching out to publics that until now have been excluded from opportunities in Erasmus Plus, but also organizations, to make sure that organizations that until now had difficulty in accessing the program, because it was basically for big organizations that had the administrative capacity to come up with complex projects and ask for funding. We've simplified it. We have in particular the small-scale partnerships that have now been introduced in the new Erasmus program, precisely with the idea of reaching out to organizations that until now have not benefited from the program. So it's organizations as well as reaching out to specific publics that have more difficulty, be it for mobility or any other actions that have been sort of away from the program because it was too complex to sometimes set up a project application. So I'd like to emphasize that Erasmus Plus has this particularity. And now coming to the end of my short presentation, to say that we have one specific activity initiative to which Skillman is also contributing, which is the Centers of Vocational Excellence. The main idea is that, isolated, we can do a lot in the VET sector, but if we just concentrate on the VET sector and are incapable of establishing partnerships with everything on a territorial level that is related to skills development, and we're talking about, regional development authorities, we're talking about companies, research centers, public employment services, bringing all these partners together, and non-governmental organizations, especially when we're talking about social inclusion. That in itself, you can make that increase the quality, do everything, have the best teachers in the world, but if we are working in isolation, if we are not associated with what are strategic development objectives, with what is the social reality in the area where VET is providing skills, that we will be missing the big picture. So it is an initiative to bring all these partners together, but also recognize that sometimes if we only look at our territorial dimension and we don't see what is happening in other areas of Europe or the world, in fact, that we are missing out on the big picture. We're missing out on new opportunities. So the initiative wants really to provide a framework in which we support, at the end of the day, of course, VET being part of local territorial strategies, but doing so by learning, by connecting with networks throughout the world. And in that respect, once again, I'd say that Skillman is providing a good service in that respect. To just conclude and tell you what we are doing and the way we are looking at vocational excellence and inclusive excellence in particular, is that we see inclusive excellence as in a wider perspective of organizations being capable of integrating even teachers coming from diverse backgrounds, have learners from diverse backgrounds, open up creativity by bringing different perspectives, because creativity exactly happens when we are in this frontier of people with different cultures, different ways of looking at life, that come together, that debate, that then develop this concept of inclusive excellence, the way we like to see it throughout the vocational system. And just to mention that we have one in this initiative on Centers of Vocational Excellence, we have one particular project. All of them look at social inclusion, of course, but there's one that has the particular focus on developing a new approach, an innovative approach, so that social inclusion can be an integral part of vocational excellence, be it working on the automotive sector, be it working on the agriculture sector. The approach to social inclusion has to be integrated in all this. We cannot think of sectoral development without looking at how we are bringing and giving opportunities for everyone in society to contribute to what are the objectives of that sectoral strategy. I would leave the presentation here, and then if there's any questions throughout the session today, I'm happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Joao, for this relevant contribution and for joining us today. It was wonderful to start with a poem, and I think we all now have a really clear vision of the importance and the priority that high quality and inclusive TVET has at a European level. No, I really think this sets the debate for today's session. So now is the time for my colleague Alicia Garcia Madrid to explain us more about social innovations in TVET and the inclusiveness assessment. So if you're ready, Alicia.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you so much to give me a space here in this very interesting webinar. I'm glad to explain you and to speak with you about social inclusion and social innovation. Well, I work for, I start sharing now, okay. That's okay. Can you see the screen?
We can see the screen split in two. If you can change the
Yeah.
view.
Here. Here. Perfect. Let me put this here. Okay. Well, I work for Action Against Hunger, Acción contra el Hambre in Spanish, as a European Social Inclusion Programs Manager. And well, Acción contra el Hambre is an international NGO, humanitarian NGO, working in more than 25 countries. But here in Spain, we started to work also for the socio-labor inclusion of disadvantaged groups. And you can be wondering, well, what is doing an humanitarian NGO working in Spain for the socio-labor inclusion of disadvantaged groups? Well, it has sense. Okay. It has sense because we have a very close relation between inclusion, poverty, and so on with education. Well, education is also part of the social inclusion. I'm going to explain it very, very well. Well, is the European pillar of social rights is of course our reference, but thinking a little bit more globally, we focus also on the Sustainable Development Goals, and we see that every goals are related each other. For example, poverty is related with education, with the employment, with inequality. So these are very relevant goals, and they are really linked. Why? Because poverty also is linked to a limited access to education, unfortunately, and the opposite, unemployment is the cause of poverty. Well, education, to have a quality education and to access education, ensure employment. So everything is related, as you can see, and also the inequalities can affect the insertion in the labor market as well as in the education. So we consider necessary to work also in education to reach proper and complete social inclusion of every member of the society. So we here see that the socioeconomic background brings to educational inequalities, and this is also linked to unemployment. That's why we are working for employment, for education, and so on. Well, in the vocational training, we consider that vocational training is the best direct access to the labor market. That's why we give importance to this sector of education because of its practical approach and is very close to the labor market. And as Joao said, and the education should be of quality and accessible for all. And well, I don't want to repeat this. But now focusing a little bit more on what we are doing at the European level in action against hunger, we are leading the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion. And we are looking here for social inclusion and social innovation all together. No? Well, this is an European network which has more than 360 members, 360 members. And well, this is about bring together all the people working for the social labor inclusion of vulnerable people to create ecosystems, to communicate each other, and as Joao said, to leave the creativity arise, no? To give a space to the creativity and to the innovation for all its members. Well, we would like to create an environment of collaboration, of confidence on each other, and also resources to work on social innovations, considering the funding from the European Commission in this sense, no, in social innovation. It gives us these financial opportunities, let's say. Well, how we are doing that, how we create this atmosphere. We wanted to be the network very practical, and we start with call for good practices with this as evaluation criteria. Well, from this selection, we have 2 finalists and 1 winner in each of the categories, which are inclusive entrepreneurship and social labor inclusion. And well, from that, we are organizing exchanges of experiences in the form of study visits, working groups, and also organizing the European event. And from these exchanges of experiences, we hope to have and to generate social innovation in new projects or in already existing projects, transferring these innovative approaches or methodologies. Well, these are all the evaluation criteria, well, which are, as you can read, relevance, innovative character of the good practice, inclusive character, which are really assessed here, social impact, transferability, sustainable approach, and gender approach. Well, all those are very important for us in order to have a very good base of good practices that can serve as an inspiration for all the members of the network and also for the exchanges of we promote under the network. No? But making assume in the innovation and inclusion criteria, well, I think it's interesting to go a little bit more in deep into what we are assessing here, what we are looking for. Well, for us, well, for the network, for this ecosystem, we think that the practice addressing new challenges or addressing new trends in these times, for example, COVID-19 or something, well, new approaches, new things, new needs are arising in the society, and if the good practice address specifically this need, this new trend, that will be very valuable. And of course, we are looking for social changes. This is more difficult. This is more at the end of the path, no, of the way. But the aim should be to transform inequalities and to make better social challenges, social problems, no, to transform the difficulties into opportunities. No, it's not to focus only in the difficulties, but to have the capacity to transform these into opportunities, not focusing in the negative things, but with this purpose. No. Also, of course, the use of new technologies for the social inclusion. These new technologies help us to better address social challenges that will be also valuable. And in general, the creation of use of new technology, methodology, new approaches. Something really new, and that these projects or experiences tested and were successful, and it deserved to work on a little bit on it. About the inclusiveness assessment, we are focusing on. We are focusing on if the good practice include the participation of people at social exclusion risk. Of course, they should be inclusive in this sense. That's the starting point here, and the good practice should satisfy the specific needs of this target group. Not in general, but the specific needs of this target group. For us, also, is important the transformation of the vulnerable people into more powerful people. I mean, we are looking for good practices that transform the persons, the people in general, empowering them, transforming their difficult situation into opportunities as well, into resilience. And also, we give importance also to the independence or autonomy. Let's say we are not a paternalistic institution, NGO. We are looking for practices that empower people, and this should be leading to it should be the people participating should be able to lead themselves to the success. I mean, it's not always giving them things, but this should be in a period of time, but not continuously. We have to make them to fly alone, let's say, no? Going into what we are giving in the punctuation, the scoring of the inclusive character. Well, we can see here the different punctuations, but from 10 points, we can say that the good practice satisfies the needs of the people. 15 potentiates the empowerment and support of the people of social exclusion risk. And in the maximum punctuation we consider the transformation, this transformation that starts first in the people and then in the society. I include here some examples of good practices that have been awarded in the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion. and other ones that we are leading, for example, To Be Digital. But well, gender plus and mental health plus include the gender into the vocational training, how to make the vocational training more inclusive in terms of gender and mental health, these both. And well, To Be Digital wants to bring resources to vocational training teachers and learners in digital learning. No? We are also focusing in digital skills here. Well, these are good practices in vocational training. And here, well, we have the training program that was led by Acción contra el Hambre as well, to promote the social and technological entrepreneurship in VET students and teachers. Well, ICUPE was about cooperative model entrepreneurship, this cooperative model in the secondary and higher education, including also vocational training. And well, this other project is the how to promote the entrepreneurial culture and in the education in general, and also the social economy. Well, these are examples of projects that we consider that have these elements, these criteria, and well, these are some examples. Well, just to say that the call for good practices this year is now open. The deadline is the 10th of July for the both categories I mentioned before. And well, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about my presentation, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Alicia. So I think we will leave questions and answers for the end of the session today. And I think you pointed out some really key issues, and it's important to know how to assess the inclusiveness of our projects. No? So now I would like to give the floor to Constantina Leventi to share us about the Be Wise project. Please, Constantina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will start sharing my screen. Thank you very much for the invitation, and my name is Constantina Leventi, and I'm a Policy and Project Officer at ESPD. ESPD is the European Association of Service Providers for Persons with Disabilities, and we are a network representing over 70,000 support services for persons with disabilities across Europe and beyond. Today I will present to you a project that we are working on, the Be Wise project, which stands for the blueprint for sectoral cooperation on skills in work integration social enterprises. This project is funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. However, I thought that it would be interesting, before going into further detail about the project, to start by what we call WISEs, what are the work integration social enterprises. So currently there are around 2 million social economy enterprises in Europe, and a subset of these enterprises are WISEs, which support people who are excluded from the labor market by facilitating their integration in employment, but also by providing them with training and job opportunities. I thought that it would be interesting as well to talk about the why behind the project, why we decided to develop and to implement this project. First of all, when it comes to digital technologies, we know that digital technologies have changed the way we work, have changed the qualifications that are needed to perform certain jobs. They have changed the way that support is provided, but also the way we learn. When it comes to WISEs, it is important to note here that the sector is very heterogeneous. We see WISEs in different industries, such as in manufacturing, in gardening, catering, the fishing industry and agriculture, but also in textile and much more sectors. So we can understand that the level of digitalization is different across the different sectors, but also across the different countries. And at the same time, the challenges that are relevant related to skills, as well as the skill demands, are different. Furthermore, when it comes to WISEs, we have identified from our research and from previous projects that there is a lack of information of the existing technological tools, on how these tools can be implemented in a WISEs environment, and also how to use these tools. There are certain WISEs that are pioneers, but unfortunately the know-how is not yet mainstreamed across Europe. We are also aware that access to technology, but also knowing how to use technology, can improve employability, but it can also improve working conditions. The use of digital technologies has spread in WISEs, and also we are aware that digital technologies are evolving very fast. But unfortunately, the speed that workers develop digital skills is not the same. Therefore, there is a need to develop a strategy to address these skill gaps, these skill needs in the WISEs sector, and this is also the aim of the project. So putting BWISE, putting the project in a sentence, I would say that the BWISE aims to develop a European strategy to address the digital skill needs in the WISEs sector. When it comes to WISEs, WISEs have different members, and these are also the project's target groups. So first of all, we have the workers with support needs, the workers which are at risk of social exclusion, and this includes persons with disabilities, long-term unemployed, migrants, but also people that are neither in education nor in employment or training. These people, of course, have supporters, and these supporters are the second target group of the project, and these can be the job coaches or the trainers. And last but not least, the third target group of the project are what we call the enablers. These are the managers, the directors of WISEs, but also the developers, the engineers that are developing tools and are also aiming in developing an enabling environment for the workers with support needs and their supporters. This project has started in January of this year, and it will run for 4 years. And some of the project milestones are presented in this slide. First of all, it will be important to start by having a better view, to have a state of play on WISEs across Europe, because as I mentioned previously, they are very heterogeneous, but also to identify what are the current skill gaps in the sector, but to anticipate future needs as digital technologies are evolving. This will help us to develop 3 VET curricula that will target, each one of the target groups of the project, that then this curricula would be implemented and evaluated in 13 countries. After that, certification authorities will assess this curricula with the aim to develop a certification label, and all these will support in developing a European sectoral skill strategy for the WISEs sector. This strategy will also aim in developing partnership, in developing synergies, with the main aim to continue the project's output and to continue the development of the skills on the WISEs sector. This project is led by ESPD and by NC. NC is the European Network of Social Integration Enterprises, with the support of another 28 partners from 13 EU countries. These include WISES representatives, VET providers, national authorities, but also European umbrella organizations. And in order to sum up the BWISE project, we established an EU-wide partnership for skills on WISES. It will support the overall growth for the WISES sector. It will also promote the sector as a career choice, and it will further support people who are more susceptible to social exclusion in order not to be further excluded due to digitalization. As we saw, BWISE targets WISES from different economic domains, different groups of workers with support needs, but also different staff categories. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them afterwards, but you can also reach out to me. Here is my email address, and I also invite you to follow us at Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Konstantina. I think we have very clear the importance of WISES and digitalization for social inclusion. So now is the time for Massimo Aloe. Please, Massimo, go ahead.
Thank you, Aurora. Okay. Thank you, Aurora. Good morning, everybody. My name is Massimo Aloe. I'm from Italy, and I'm going to briefly present you this project, which is called VET Reality. VET Reality, the full title of the project is Virtual Reality-Based Training to Upskill Vetters and Trainers and Foster Inclusion of Students with Special Educational Needs in Work-Based Learning. This is an Erasmus K-Action 2 for VET project, which started last October, and its duration will be 26 months, ending at the end of November 2022. 6 are the countries, the European countries of this project: Italy, Austria, France, Poland, Spain, and Ireland, and 7 are working together on the development of the content of this VET Reality project. This morning we have listened about inclusion, about digitalization, digital skills. The VET Reality project was developed taking into account these 2 main European priorities. So the inclusion of learners with special needs, especially in work-based learning, and digital skills, development of digital skills and competences for VET teachers and trainers who deals on a daily viewpoint with learners with special educational needs. So the main aim of this project, of VET Reality project, will be the increasing of digital competencies and technological skills on virtual reality applications, both hardware and software, for VET teachers and trainers to facilitate the inclusion of SEN students with special educational needs first in education and finally in work-based learning and in work employment opportunities. So the main objective of this project are the following, are these 3 main objectives. Foster learning approaches and methodologies to provide digital skills for teaching and training, as outlined in many European recommendation, communication from European Commission, for example, the Digital Education Action Plan. increase the technological competencies on virtual reality application and facilitate in this way the access to work-based learning to students with special educational needs, and promote virtual reality within the framework of European mobility programs. First of all, on Erasmus mobility programs, and this way encourage the participation of learners, students with disabilities and special educational needs in mobility, in European mobility program. We have two different target groups, one direct target group and another indirect target group. For direct target group, we already involved 70 VET teachers and trainers in the development of the first output of the project, which is an e-compendium. 7 other teachers, VET teachers and trainers will be involved in the training curriculum, which is going to be developed on the next months, and even 70 VET teachers and trainers even on the testing of the last output of the project, which is a mobility toolbox. 14 other VET teachers and trainers will be involved as well in learning, teach, training activities, which will be carried out in Austria on the next November. And 270 stakeholders and representatives of the target groups will be involved in the local multiplier events, which will be carried out at the end of the project. As the main indirect target group, we will have 800 teachers and trainers, which are mainly from the partner organizations and even the associated partners to the projects, about 3,500 students with special educational needs. These are the students, more or less, that are attending classes and schools of the partner organization and associated partner, and about 2,000 stakeholders who will be informed ongoing on the project development, and then will be provided by the end of the project of the results, the 3 main tangible results of the project. The first tangible result of the project is this VET Reality Compendium for VET teachers and trainers. This is the first intellectual output already developed in English version, and is going to be translated also in the other partner languages, which are Italian, German, Polish, French, Spanish, and that's it. And this output was developed in 2 main parts. The first part investigating on an empirical level about the virtual reality key competencies needed by VET teachers and trainers to promote the learning, to develop the learning process of students with special educational needs, mainly aimed at their successful inclusion in work-based learning, and even to ease their transition from school to work. And another part of the compendium was the 20 virtual reality applications at the moment available in Europe, so in terms of hardware and software. The investigation of the competence gap was done on a base of 4 hours focus group with the target groups, and even experts and the stakeholders were involved in this investigating component of the intellectual output. This intellectual output will be soon available after the translation in all partner languages on the project website, which I will tell you at the end of this presentation. The second output of the project is a training program, a training curriculum for VET teachers and trainers. And this curriculum will have a duration of 10 days, 5 days in presence in class, and 5 days on self-learning on the basis of the material that we are going to produce with the project. The main aim of this output is to train teachers and trainers on how to use this virtual reality application. First of all, the 20 that we selected, the 20 applications that we select during this first phase of the project, and how to use them during their lessons in classes with students with special educational needs, and this way how to facilitate their inclusion in work-based learning activities and in job opportunities. Even this output will be available in all partner languages and will be downloadable from the project website and even from the Erasmus project result platform and other European platform, like for example the EPAL platform. The last output of the project, I can say the most challenging of the project, is the VET Reality Mobility Toolbox for VET teachers and trainers. This mobility toolbox will be based on 6 online learning sequences, which correspond to the 6 main phases of physical mobility. The first phase, we call the first phase Discover.eu map, and the aim is to create a motivating image of mobility and support students with special educational needs to get orientation and integration in the hosting country during the mobility. The e-portfolio, the aim of this e-learning sequence will be to help send students mapping and creating a personal e-profile needed to successfully apply for a mobility or an internship abroad. The mobility skills match, the third sequence of the toolbox. The aim of this sequence will be to provide students with special educational needs with a learning mobility program based on skills, qualification, experience, and expectations of both learners and hosting companies abroad. The fourth one will be the mobility interview, how to support students with special needs, preparing the interview with the hosting companies abroad. The fifth sequence will be how to help send students becoming aware with the hosting company about the skills that they need to develop and the task that they have to carry out during the mobility. And the last one will be the mobility implementation, how to monitor, evaluate, and follow up students with special needs during the mobility experience abroad. Also, this mobility toolbox will be available in all partner languages, first of all in English, and will be possible to download it even from the project website and from the other platform like the Erasmus project results platform. The other project activities of VET Reality will be multiplier events, 7 local multiplier events in all partner countries involving 270 participants in total, with the aim to disseminate and valorize the project outputs and the results even after the end of the project. A learning, teaching and training activity which will be carried out in Austria, in Graz, on next November, involving 14 VET teachers and trainers from partner organizations in order to supply them skills and competencies on how to use virtual reality and on how to integrate virtual reality applications in their daily work with students. And the duration of this activity will be five days. The last activities of the project are the transversal meetings. Unfortunately, the kickoff meeting and the second meeting were held online because of the COVID pandemic, and we hope to carry out in presence the next meeting, which will be in Cork in Ireland, and the final meeting and conference, which will be organized in Italy, in Campobasso. Briefly, which are the expected results, the three main expected results of the VET Reality project? RISE, yes?
Excuse me, Massimo, to interrupt. I think we're already out of time. So I think we have a really clear, this is the last slide.
The last one, yes,
okay,
yes. Just
perfect.
very briefly,
Perfect.
these are the main expected results. RISE teaches and trainers competencies on virtual reality application and how to use them with students, and in terms of learning, but most of all in terms of involving them in work-based learning activities. Provide the VET teachers and trainers the keys in order to integrate these competencies in their daily work with students, and enhancing VET teachers and trainers competencies for better understanding the frameworks and the needs of students with special educational needs, and help them to move from school to work and to employment possibilities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Massimo.
This is the project website and the project Facebook page to follow the developments.
Okay, in any case, we will be publishing all the slides in case you had to rush at the end. So everyone, all the public attending will be able to go through and extend the information. So thank you very much. New technologies are important to foster and to help to adapt to every student's needs and learning styles. So yes, indeed. So as we are already out of time, now it's time to address all the questions. So I think we can have like a quick run through all our speakers on maybe what are the main challenges to social inclusion when defining and implementing TVET curriculum, no? And what are the stakeholders that should be more included to achieve this social inclusion. So if any one of you feels to go ahead, maybe Joao, you can give us your views.
Well, you know, just very quickly to say that I'm always happy to come to these kind of meetings because, you know, at the European level in Erasmus Plus, we finance, I think in VET, something like 600 projects in strategic partnerships every year, and then plus quite a few in COVES, in sectoral blueprints and so on. And of course, it's impossible for us to follow what happens in all these projects, and coming to these meetings is a good opportunity. I didn't know about the project that were just mentioned today by Alicia, by Massimo, and you know, it's always very interesting. And I saw, for example, that one of them in social innovation is very related to another one which I follow very closely on inclusive excellence, and I was drafting a mail right now to both of the project leaders to see if they could get together. But just, I mean, just a word of encouragement for everyone. I'm really amazed, and also this toolbox for mobility, very useful. You know, in VET now we have a challenge and also an opportunity, gigantic opportunity. The Erasmus program has been gifted with almost a doubling of the budget compared to the previous programming period, which means that in VET, in the next 7 years, we will be able to finance almost 2 million learners in mobility, which is as much as we've done since the establishment of the Erasmus program back in 1987. So it's a gigantic opportunity, but also a big challenge because we have to generate enough mobility, quality mobility, to absorb all this funding. So, you know, initiatives like the one that Massimo has just explained is excellent because it helps us further develop quality mobility, and in particular focusing on social inclusion. So these initiatives, I'm really thankful for Skillman, for the Assembly of European Regions of organizing this event, because sometimes it's an opportunity also for us in Brussels of, you know, sitting in our gray offices to know what is happening on the ground, and then to also put you people in context so that you can further explore the good work you are doing. So just a quick word of encouragement, and thank you for organizing the event.
Okay. Thank you, Joao, for these words. So we are out of time already, and so if ever you've asked any question in the chat that has not been addressed, we will be sending you an email to answer it. And I think it's time, Massimo, Alicia, I don't know if you want to add anything concerning these challenges for social inclusion when defining and implementing VET. If you want to add something.
Well, I think that well, I would like to thank you also to be here. That's a thing that is that we are trying to address in our organization, and also trying to attract other organizations to work together and to collaborate. I think that the opportunities that the European Commission give us to work together, to go to look forward with other colleagues in other countries, open minds, and also not for people mobilizing in the Erasmus Plus, but also for the organizations working together in the projects. And we believe in partnerships. That's why we are leading this network, because we believe that all together we can build better things and with more quality, and that's it. I would like to stress the importance of partnership, collaborations, to be open mind, to don't be afraid of sharing things. We would like to be transparent, generous, and that's the key to, at the end, to improve the life of the people that have more difficulties. So that's the message from my part.
Okay, thank you, Alicia. These inclusive creative ecosystems, no, you were mentioning about collaboration.
Thank you. I would just say thank you, Joao, for having pointed out the importance of mobility for students with special needs. Yes, one of the main output of this project will be this mobility toolbox, and we used to send many students every year abroad, and at least 20% of these students are with special educational needs. So we really need this instrument, these tools, these European tools to better plan and manage this mobility projects, especially for this target of students. So thank you, even the European Commission, for putting all this effort on mobility and on inclusion of learners with special educational needs and disabilities.
Okay, thank you, Massimo. So this is all for today. I think we had a really complete and inspiring discussion. No, I think we have more clear now the importance of TVET, no, and to provide opportunities, equal opportunities for all to participate in TVET education, a high quality and accessible education for all. And how important it is to collaborate in this, to foster collaboration on social inclusion and TVET, and the challenges we have ahead, but also the opportunities, no, concerning digitalization and how it can help us to improve and to adapt to all learners, to all people's needs, no? So as Joao said, we are all part of the continent, no? So let's work all together for social inclusion in education and to reduce inequalities, okay? So thank you all, the speakers and public. And I leave you now with Valentina for some last remarks.
Yes, I won't say much except for the invitation to participate to tomorrow's event about adaptive microlearning. I think Luca is sharing with you the link to register for tomorrow's event. I hope to see many of you there. And nothing, I hope you have a great day, great evening, grade 9, wherever you are. Thank you very much for participating, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Have a good one.